Hi there, Malcolm here with my 376th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a book review for Invincible Volume 2, written by Robert Kirkman, and this new softcover edition collects Invincibles number 8 through 13. The story follows a teenager who has come into his superpowers. Omni-Man's his dad. He's sort of like Superman. He comes from another planet, he has super strength, he can fly, he's more or less indestructible. And young Mark is developing these powers for himself and learning how to use those as a superhero. Now at the end of Volume 1, two great big things happen, which leads directly into Volume 2 of the fallout of these two great big things. And obviously I can't really say those without spoiler, so I shall talk about what I thought about the book, and if needs be I'll then go to spoiler territory and break it down further. Mark himself seems to find himself in the middle of a love triangle where he falls for a girl at college, whilst one of his co-superheroes starts to have feelings for him. Certainly after what she finds out during the first volume. I think we don't find out until the beginning of this one. And like with Volume 1, I've also been watching Season 1 of the animated series based off this, where Episode 1 more or less ties into Volume 1 of this. And when I finished this, I watched Episode 2 and then Episode 3, and it's still not covered everything that's happened in this one and in Volume 1. But regarding these romantic entanglements, they're very briefly glossed over in the book, whereas in the series it actually takes the time to flesh it out a lot more. In fact, I found it a bit weird that the superhero gang that he falls in with, but I thought it was okay, but very superficial. It didn't help that both girls were very similar in appearance, at least in the book. Although for the TV show they did change Amber, so she was very distinctly different to Eve. But it did feel very much like an afterthought in this book. There's also a major thing that happened at the end of Volume 1, which has massive consequences going into Volume 2. One of which is a superhero tryout, as they're trying to create a new superhero team. That was really interesting. That was a lot of fun. And as I mentioned in my video for Volume 1, I really like the little homages they have to various established MCU, DC characters. So you know Rhino from Spider-Man. This character's never actually mentioned, but I bet he's called Elephant. I just think it's hilarious. We also have a great Star Trek nod as well, with a weird little thing going on deep in space. I really appreciated that. There's also a demon detective that's very reminiscent of Hellboy. But the superhero tryouts were a lot of fun. Looking forward to how this newly assembled team will function. We also see the introduction of these two guys, which really surprised me. It's like, hang on, we've not seen these two guys before, because they feature strongly in the openings of the first episode and in the third episode as well. And yet in the books, this is their first appearance, where they do a thing that will have revelationary consequences. It's really hard keeping this vague. And again, I really enjoyed this. It didn't get too bogged down in being a superhero adventure story. Yes, there were a few things to defeat. They're more like the opening passage of a new chapter as Invincible beats up the elephant guy, or Dr. Seismic, and then go on to his interactions with his fellow superheroes, with his dad, with his mum. And another big change they did do with the TV show is they made his superhero skill set a lot more uncertain. He's not great at landing. He's not a natural fighter. You know, he's still learning the ropes. Whereas in the books, he's instantly great at everything he does. He's still got things to learn, but he's still very competent doing things that he's never done before. So in that I would say that the TV show has improved upon the source material. And thankfully we have the big reveal as to why what happened at the end of Volume 1 happened, which leads to a final confrontation which had a very touching conclusion, even if it's not that much of a conclusion. You know, it's conclusion ... Once again, I would say this is booktastic. Highly recommend it, and I do recommend watching the show like I've been doing as you've been reading them. You know, do try and pace yourself so you don't go too far ahead on one, so you spoil it for the other. It's difficult to know at what point you have to stop. Like I say, with Volume 1, it ended at the end of Episode 1. There's stuff that happened in the first volume that didn't happen until Episode 2 or even 3. I also finished Episode 3, and I still not got to the conclusion of the second book. There's also quite a lot of changes they've done, things that happen in one that didn't happen in the other, or things that happen very differently. I'm not saying that one was better than the other, it's just it's very interesting that they changed this and didn't change that, or kept that but changed this. There's some odd choices, like in the book, Invincible faces off against Dr. Seismic at Mount Rushmore, which comes to a resolution, whereas in the show it's at the same setting, but he's fighting alongside Adam Eve. And Dr. Seismic criticises her costume, saying that she's been forced to wear a stereotypical patriarchal costume for a woman. Well, basically says, up yours, I designed this myself, thank you very much. Which I think was a great line, but I'm beginning to struggle to remember what was on the show and what was in the book. All good stuff. Okay, on to spoiler territory now, because this is getting ridiculous, because it's getting really hard to talk about any of the things that have happened. So, spoiler territory, you've been warned. At the conclusion of episode 1 and at volume 1, Omni-Man gathers up the Guardians of the Globe and then murders the lot of them. This literally happens right at the end of the book, and there's a page of them all just getting killed somehow, and we're left with almost this view, except he's covered in blood. And you think, well, what the hell? Why? We also have Adam Eve entering her superhero's base, and then seeing something that completely shocks her. It turns out that her boyfriend, Rex Splode, who's got a very similar ability as X-Men's Gambit, has been having an affair with Duplicate, who's basically got the same ability as Multiple Man. So she's not talking to Rex Splode, even though she's been putting the new Guardians of the Globe with him, and Duplicate, amongst others. And of course, Omni-Man has covered up the fact that he's done these murders very well. He's not a suspect. Why would he be? He's Earth's greatest hero. Until these two reclaim Immortal's head and body, reattach them, bringing him back to life again, resulting in a final confrontation between Omni-Man and Immortal. Omni-Man then kills him again, but this time Invincible witnesses his father doing this, and his father then admits who he is and what's going on. Basically, he's not from a benign race of people to protect planets. He's from a invading empire, and he's basically softening up Earth, ready for their subjugation into the empire. And of course, the Guardians of the Globe will be the biggest threat to that. Although, I would say, really, because he managed to wipe them out with no problem, single-handedly. Now, the show actually made it more of a fight for him. He did get quite badly wounded in doing so, and even hospitalised as a result of it. But I did feel that the investigation with this demon investigator was very much truncated, because it's a case of, right, how long is he going to be able to maintain this ruse before the truth comes out? Oh no, the truth's out now. Okay, well, I would like to have perhaps seen that last a bit longer. And it certainly lasted longer on the show. Like, yeah, as I said, at the end of episode 3, we've still not had this confrontation, and the two blue dudes have actually just been released from incarceration, having attacked the White House at the beginning of the first episode, or just pop up here for the first time. And so they're going to go off and reassemble Immortal. And that's a really interesting thing behind the scenes, because Robot, part of Immortal's new group of superheroes, is the guy that let them out. Something that wasn't covered in Volume 2. I don't know if we get a flashback or a revelation in Volume 3 or later on down the line, but certainly what I've seen on the show so far, it alludes that there's more to Robot than first meets the eye, something that isn't even hinted at in the first 2 volumes. And of course I have to talk about the final confrontation between Immortal and Omni-Man. As Omni-Man turns him, basically does a Darth Vader, we can rule this planet together as father and son. The people here are beneath us, they're less than us. You know, we all live thousands of years. These people bring nothing to us. And of course, having been born on Earth and grown up as an Earthling, Mark is very much, what the hell, Dad? No, this is my planet, this is my home, these are my people. And they do end up having a massive great fight. And of course, Omni-Man, being the older and the stronger, does beat 7 shades of crap out of him, and it leads into a really powerful scene where Omni-Man is standing over his son, ready to land the killing blow, saying, you know, why are you doing this for you? Why are you resisting? After 1,000 years, what is going to be here left for you? And he responds, you, Dad. I'd still have you. I just thought, wow, that was brilliant. And of course, Mark then ends up in hospital. He recovers and he's back home again, and he will agree to join the Guardians of the Globe. Something he's been reluctant to do before, because he's got school to go to, he's got studies, he's got girls, he's got, you know, his normal life he's got to deal with. But now he needs to step up. His dad's now public enemy #1 and has left the solar system. Really enjoyed this. Looking forward to getting my hands on Volume 3, seeing what this new Guardian of the Globe can do. Surprising a robot who is apparently really intelligent and is very much the leader of this new group. But we haven't really got to see much of what he does. In episodes 2 and 3, when he's finally introduced, we do get to see some of his capabilities, which is really good. All suggestions, there's more to him. We have Duplicate, who again has just been there. Much better fleshed out in the TV series. Shrinking Ray, basically Ant-Man analogue, other than the TV show, is female. Monster Girl, or the Incredible Hulk type thing, with an interesting twist mentioned in the TV show, in that every time she hulks out, as it were, she gets that little bit younger. Black Samson, who was part of the original lineup, but lost his powers through some reason, and has regained them again through the suit he wears. And Rex Splode, like I said earlier, has the Gambit ability. Adam Eve isn't listed on that lineup, although she is in the TV show. Oh, and both cases, Monster Girl beating the crap out of Rex Splode was brilliant. So yeah, so looking forward to that team doing some more. Looking forward to seeing Invincible stepping up and defending the Earth proper like. But also, are we going to see Omni-Man return with his invading force? Or is something else going to happen because he's left his post? So there you go, that's Invincible Volume 2. What do you think about it? Comment down below, please. As usual, if you've nothing I should say, please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Also, try to refrain from giving spoilers without some sort of spoiler warning on top of your message. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things if you want. And until next time, see you later.